All right, hi everyone. This is to set up our chapters for our interactive student notebooks. So I'm going to start with Math 7, so the Gryffindors. So this is Gryffindor's notebook. So we've gone through about how to set up the beginning few pages of our ISN. Okay, and we've got our table of contents page already filled out from 1 to 5. Now on page 6, you're going to get what says Chapter 1 vocabulary at the top. It has an essential question, and then it has all your vocabulary listed. Your vocabulary is going to be on 2 different pages. Okay, so once you get that, it'll be on one sheet. You'll have to cut it in half, just like you did with the table of contents pages. And you'll have to glue them into your notebook. Remember, don't use a lot of glue. Only use about 4 drops on each page, and that way it'll be easier to write on. So on page 6, I've got my first page of vocabulary, and then on page 7, I have my second page of vocabulary. Now at the top of the page, I'm going to write Chapter 1 on page 6. Sorry, on page 6, you're going to write at the top, Chapter 1, Ratios and Proportional Reasoning. Go ahead and do that now. Okay. Now on page 7, you're going to write Chapter 1 vocabulary, just so you know that this is going to be all vocabulary. Okay? So go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and pause the video and do that now. So now on page 8, you're going to glue in your first doodle note on rates and unit rates. And you're actually going to leave page 9 blank, because page 9 is going to be where you can do all of your work. So you can see that below I've got some try it problems. You can actually show all of your work right here on this page, and that way you don't have to try to squish it in those little boxes. Okay. We're going to continue on page, this should be page 10. You're going to have your complex fractions and unit rates. Again, leave page 11 blank. On page 12, you're going to have convert unit rates. On page 13, you're going to leave that page blank. On page 14, you're going to have proportional and non-proportional relationships. Leave page 15 blank. Okay. On 16, you're going to have graph proportional relationships. And on page 17, you're going to have the second portion of that, okay? So this one you won't have a blank page to work stuff out. So that's 16 and 17. On page 18, you're going to have solve proportional relationships. Leave page 19 blank. On page 20, you're going to have constant rate of change. Leave page 21 blank. Then on 22, you're going to have your first slope page. And on 23, you're going to have your second slope page. There's 23. Okay. And then on page 24, you're going to have direct variation. Now that you've done all that, you want to make sure you go back to your table of contents page, and you want to go ahead and fill this in. So on page 6 and 7, I'm going to go ahead and write it a little bit bigger. It'll be easier to see. Okay. On 6 and 7 was our vocab. So you're going to write Chapter 1 vocabulary. Then on page 8 and 9 was rates. I'm gonna make sure I have it written down correctly. Was rates and unit rates. On page 10 and 11 was complex fractions and unit rates. On page 12 and 13 was convert unit rates. (14) and 15 was proportional and non-proportional relationships. On 16 and 17 was graph proportional relationships. So graph. (18) and 19 was solve proportional relationships. (20) and 21 was constant rate of change. (22) was slope, and 23. So 22 through 23 is slope. 24 is direct to 25 is direct variation. And that is the end of chapter 1. So this is what you should have written down at the end of chapter 1.